Have you ever felt like something beyond your normal, everyday reality is trying to get your attention? Maybe it's in the form of a strange coincidence, an odd dream, or a feeling that you just can't shake off. What if these occurrences aren't just random? What if they are messages from a version of yourself that exists in a different reality? In today's video, we'll talk about how some people believe that parallel versions of ourselves may be trying to communicate with us, and we'll look at this idea through the lens of biblical teachings. Over the years, the idea of parallel universes has fascinated people. It's been a favorite topic in movies, books, and TV shows, from The Matrix to Doctor Strange, making it seem almost like science fiction. The concept suggests that there could be multiple versions of you, each living a slightly different life, making different choices, and experiencing different outcomes. But while this idea has its roots in quantum physics and modern science, some also try to connect it with spiritual beliefs. The Bible doesn't specifically mention parallel universes, but it does speak of spiritual realms and unseen forces at work in the world. For example, in Ephesians 6:12 it says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This suggests that there are unseen powers and dimensions beyond what we can see and feel in our physical world. While the Bible doesn't directly support the idea of multiple versions of ourselves, it does acknowledge the existence of multiple planes of reality, heaven, earth, and the spiritual world, and the ongoing interaction between them. Some people believe that just as we can receive guidance from angels or spiritual forces, we might also get clues or signs from other versions of ourselves that exist in different realities. Now, here's where it gets interesting. What if these messages come to us in subtle ways, through dreams, déjà vu, or unexplainable feelings? The Bible often talks about God sending signs through dreams. Take, for instance, Joseph, whose dreams in the book of Genesis were used by God to foretell future events. These dreams served as important messages, not only for Joseph but also for the people around him. Could it be that these dreams and experiences are not just God's messages, but also signals from a parallel version of yourself, one that has experienced a different outcome and is somehow trying to steer you? Some interpret these kinds of moments as more than just coincidences. Perhaps they represent instances where different realities cross over or align, creating a window of communication between them. In this video, we're going to discuss 5 key signs that some believe indicate a parallel version of yourself may be reaching out to you. We'll explore how these signs might manifest in your life and consider how they could connect with biblical ideas of spiritual guidance, dreams, and unseen forces. Sign 1. Unexplained recurring dreams. Have you ever woken up from the same dream night after night, wondering if it means something? What if those repetitive dreams are more than just random images from your subconscious? Throughout history, dreams have been regarded as powerful forms of communication. In the Bible, dreams are often depicted as direct messages from God, guiding individuals through difficult or pivotal moments in their lives. Take the story of Joseph in the book of Genesis, for example. His dreams not only revealed personal destiny, but also foretold the future of entire nations. Through his dreams, God communicated important truths, not just to him, but to those around him as well. Genesis 30:7. These dreams helped shape Joseph's path and influence the choices he made, eventually leading him to a position of great power and responsibility. The Bible is filled with such examples where dreams served as a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms. But what if your recurring dreams are not just a divine message, but also a clue from a parallel version of yourself? Think about it. If there are alternate versions of you living in different realities, could it be possible that these dreams are glimpses into their lives? Could they be showing you a path you didn't take in this reality? For instance, if you keep dreaming about making a different decision at a key moment in your life, whether it's a career choice, a relationship, or a move to a new place, maybe it's because a version of you in another universe actually made that choice. These dreams could be a way of that version of you communicating across dimensions, revealing what could have been, or even what might still be possible. So the next time you experience a recurring dream, ask yourself, is this simply a reflection of my subconscious thoughts, or is it something more? Could it be a message from beyond, perhaps even from another version of yourself, nudging you toward a decision or revealing a hidden truth? The answer might be more mysterious than you think. Sign 2. Déjà vu or strong familiarity. Have you ever walked into a place or met someone new, yet felt an eerie sense that you've been there or met them before? This strange sensation is known as déjà vu, And it's one of those moments that can leave you questioning reality itself. Déjà vu is that brief but intense feeling that you've already experienced something, even though logic tells you it's impossible. Scientists explain this phenomenon as a glitch in the brain's memory systems. But what if there's more to it than that? While the Bible doesn't directly talk about déjà vu, there are verses that suggest everything has already happened in God's divine plan. Ecclesiastes 3:15 states, "Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account." This verse implies that time and events are not as linear as we perceive them. Some biblical scholars believe that moments of familiarity, like déjà vu, could be hints of a greater spiritual plan unfolding, a reminder that God sees all of time at once, and sometimes we catch glimpses of this intricate design. But what if déjà vu is more than just a spiritual nudge? Could it be a signal from a parallel version of yourself, living a similar but slightly different life? If there are other realities where alternate versions of you exist, it's possible that your experiences could overlap at certain moments. The sense of familiarity might arise because another version of you has already lived through that exact moment, and the memory is seeping into your consciousness. Imagine you're at a new restaurant, and you suddenly feel like you've been there before. Maybe a version of you in a parallel universe has been there, and this sensation is a hint, a message that realities are crossing paths for just a moment. Could your parallel self be trying to send you a subtle message, urging you to pay attention to a specific decision or situation? The next time you experience déjà vu, ask yourself, is this just a trick of the mind, or is it something far more mysterious? Sign 3. A sudden shift in thoughts or desires. Have you ever found yourself suddenly drawn to something you never cared for before, or felt an abrupt change in your personality, as if it didn't quite belong to you? These shifts can seem like they come out of nowhere. A sudden interest in a new hobby, a desire to move somewhere new, or even a change in values. These feelings may be so unexpected that you begin to wonder, where did this come from? While these shifts can be attributed to personal growth or new experiences, some believe they might originate from something beyond just your immediate reality. In the context of parallel universes, these sudden desires could be echoes from a version of yourself in a different reality, navigating different choices and circumstances. Could it be that another version of you has followed a different path, and now somehow you're catching glimpses of their life and desires? The Bible talks about transformation and the renewal of the mind, particularly in Romans 12:2, which says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." This verse speaks to the concept of spiritual renewal and how our thoughts and desires can shift as we align ourselves more with God's will. But could there be more to these sudden changes? What if these shifts are not just a reflection of personal or spiritual growth, but also connected to alternate versions of yourself, each living out different choices and outcomes? Perhaps these other selves have made decisions that you haven't yet considered, and these new desires you're feeling are a subtle push, influenced by the life they're living. Imagine that a version of you in another reality made a major life decision, moved to a new city, pursued a career you didn't choose, or adopted a lifestyle completely different from your own. The sudden desire to make a similar change in your life could be a signal from that version of yourself, nudging you toward an alternative path. These shifts, then, could be more than just fleeting thoughts. They might be signs of a connection between realities, where the choices and desires of your parallel self begin to blend into your consciousness. Could these sudden shifts in thought be more than just random changes? Is it possible that another version of you, living a different life, is sending you signals, guiding you toward a path they've already walked? Sign 4. Finding meaningful patterns in numbers or events. Have you ever noticed the same numbers or patterns appearing over and over in your life? Like seeing 11:11 on the clock or coming across the number 7 in random situations. These repeating patterns can feel strangely significant, almost as if they are a message meant specifically for you. Many people interpret these recurring numbers or events as a signal, something that holds deeper meaning or importance. For some, these patterns may seem like coincidences, but for others they carry a sense of mystery, as if something or someone is trying to grab their attention. These numbers can often seem to pop up during times of uncertainty or decision-making, making them feel even more like a message that is meant to guide or comfort. While this is a common experience, could there be more to it? Numbers hold significant spiritual meaning in the Bible. For example, The number 7 is often associated with completeness or perfection. In Genesis, God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, marking the completion of his work. The number 40 is also spiritually significant, symbolizing periods of testing or transformation. Moses spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, and Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness. Numbers throughout Scripture often point to deeper spiritual truths, and they are used deliberately to represent divine order and purpose. While the Bible doesn't speak directly about repeated number patterns like 1111, the use of numbers for spiritual messages is well documented. This raises an intriguing possibility. Could the repeated appearance of certain numbers in your life be a signal from a parallel version of yourself? If we think about the concept of multiple realities, maybe these numbers are not just random. They could be a form of communication from another version of you, trying to guide you toward a path. What if the numbers or events you encounter repeatedly are not just coincidences but messages from your parallel self? If alternate versions of yourself exist in different realities, they may be living through similar challenges or choices. These recurring numbers might be a subtle way of communicating, a nudge from another version of you who has already walked a path you're about to face. For example, seeing 1111 might feel like a sign that you're on the right track, while encountering other patterns, like a specific number related to a past decision, could be a warning or encouragement. These patterns could be a way for your parallel self to offer guidance, showing you the significance of certain choices or experiences. Next time you notice these repeating numbers or patterns, pause and think. Is this just a coincidence, or is there something more? Could this be your parallel self sending you a signal, encouraging you to pay attention to something important in your life? Sign 5. Feeling disconnected or out of place. Have you ever felt like you don't quite belong where you are? As if your current reality isn't the one you're supposed to be in? These moments can leave you feeling disconnected from the world around you, almost as if you're meant to be somewhere else, living a different life, in a different place, or even as a different person. It's a subtle, nagging sense that something just isn't right, as though you're missing out on an alternate reality where you might fit better. This feeling is not uncommon and can often be linked to periods of change, dissatisfaction, or personal reflection. But could it also hint at something deeper? Some believe that this sense of being out of place might be connected to a parallel version of yourself living a different life. If there are multiple realities, perhaps a part of you is unconsciously aware of this other existence, where your choices or circumstances are completely different. Could it be that your feelings of disconnection are signals from another version of yourself? In the Bible, believers are often described as aliens and strangers in this world. Hebrews 11:13 speaks of people of faith who admitted that they were strangers and foreigners on earth, highlighting the idea that their true home is elsewhere, namely, a heavenly one. This sense of not fully belonging to the world around us is a recurring theme in Scripture, and it reflects the spiritual reality that believers are not meant to be fully at ease in the present physical world. While the Bible uses this language to refer to spiritual longing for heaven, some believe this feeling of being out of place could also resonate with the concept of parallel universes. If other versions of ourselves exist in alternate realities, could it be that, on some level, we're aware of them? This might explain why we sometimes feel like we're meant to be living a different life, one that's being experienced by another version of ourselves. If we consider the idea that parallel universes exist, it's possible that the sense of disconnection you feel comes from an overlap or link to another version of yourself. Maybe your parallel self has made different choices, leading them to a life that feels more aligned with what you subconsciously desire. That feeling of being out of place could be a sign that your parallel self is experiencing the life that, in another reality, you would be living. Perhaps these moments of disconnect are more than just temporary dissatisfaction. Could it be that another version of you, living in a different dimension, is living a life that feels more complete or purposeful? These sensations might be subtle messages urging you to reflect on your choices or to consider paths you haven't yet explored. Next time you feel out of place, ask yourself, is this just a passing emotion, or could it be something more? Could it be that another version of yourself is living the life you feel you're supposed to be in? To recap, we've explored 5 intriguing signs that might suggest a parallel version of yourself is trying to send you a message. From recurring dreams and eerie feelings of déjà vu to sudden shifts in your thoughts or desires, these experiences can feel deeply personal, yet strangely otherworldly. We also discussed the significance of finding repeated patterns, such as numbers, and the unsettling sensation of feeling disconnected from your current reality. Each of these signs, while mysterious, could be connected to a spiritual or even biblical perspective, offering clues that there's more to our existence than we can see. These signs may not always be obvious, but staying aware of them can offer insights into your own life choices and even the spiritual dimensions at play. Whether these experiences are spiritual messages, parallel realities, or simply a part of personal reflection, they can inspire deep contemplation about the paths we take. If you've ever encountered any of these signs or had similar experiences, share your thoughts or stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more fascinating discussions on spiritual mysteries and unseen forces.